Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
Armit Tevepaugh, how are you, friend? It's awfully good to see you. I called you a few days ago and said, Armit, we need to know about the peaches this year. I remember last year, the harvest in Wilkes County and the surrounding counties was not good for peaches, was it?
No, we've got probably the best crop this year we've had in 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The Lord's blessed us. Yeah.
So is that across the board? Now, I know you're up on the Brushy Mountains, but you've got other orchards in the area too. So in general, is everybody scheduled for a much better harvest this year?
This is pretty much all the way down south as far as what I've heard anyhow. They've all got a bumper crop.
Okay.
And so going to be a lot of peaches and apples this year. So.
Yeah, all right. So that's good news. And then we've got some great ones. We'll talk about these in just a minute. You were gracious enough to bring a few of the ones that you know that I love a lot. I've written about these. We've talked about them on TV before. But these Saturn peaches or donut peaches that people like to call them, you're going to have a lot of those this year?
We've got a good crop of donut peaches, yeah. And we refer to them as donut peaches.
Right.
Their proper name is Saturn.
Right.
And there's other varieties of the donut, but Saturn's the most popular, and it's the best, I think.
Yeah.
Sweetest.
Oh, I think they're great. Let's let everybody know a little bit about you before we get started. I remember your story from years ago, and your family has been in this region for quite a while. Claimed that mountainside a long time ago and started growing things, right?
Oh yeah.
Tell us where the Tevepaughs came from.
Well, originally Germany, and of course then they migrated down south. My ancestors then migrated up from Mecklenburg to Wilkes County. The first one was John Tevepaugh, and he was that was in the late 1800s.
Okay.
So I'm the 5th generation from him.
So you're the 5th generation. So your sons would be the 6th generation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Of having that piece of property, have you grown peaches and apples there from the beginning?
We're not on the same property that the original Tevepaugh was, but we've been 3 generations on the farm that I'm on right now, and they've been growing apples ever since the beginning. Brushy Mountain is known more for the apples, but peaches. My grandfather he had peaches back as far as I can remember. And I'm 70 years old, so
right.
They've been around at least 100 years.
Sure.
Been growing them.
Wow.
So, of course, back then there's only 2 varieties: Georgia Belle and Alberta, a white peach and a yellow peach. That's all they had.
That was it.
Yeah, and then my father, he added different varieties, and then of course then we added the donuts, the nectarines, and we've got probably 15 varieties now
of peaches.
That we grow of peaches.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I didn't realize there's that many. I'll have to come up and meet the rest of them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
they ripen all through the season, different times. That's the biggest difference in them.
Are these the donut peach? Is this the first?
That's the first, and the yellow clings. These are the yellow clingstone, which means they're tight to the seed.
Right. Now, one of the things that I've learned about the donut peach is that one of its rare components is one of the things that makes it rare is the fact it just doesn't hang around long, right? And it's not great for shipping.
No, it's not a great. And you don't see them a lot grown commercially,
Right. And that would be the reason, right?
It is. They're delicate. Right. I mean, they're hard to pick. They will grow. They'll grow on a limb, and they have a short stem. They'll be like this,
right?
And you got to sort of maneuver them to even pick them.
So it's not like a quick.
You just don't grab them and jerk them.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Like an apple or maybe some of the bigger peaches.
Yeah.
This one requires
Yeah.
It's from Saturn, for heaven's sake. That's an out-of-this-world experience, Armit.
Oh, yeah. And they are sweet, though. They have a big following. I set out my first Saturns in probably 25 years ago. I set out 10 trees.
Right.
Didn't know what they were, just because it was something different.
Right.
Well, as time went on and we got to selling a few, people got to coming back, asking for them, and now it's probably my most popular peach.
Is that right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I do, and I've done it at your place before, I've been up there, and now I know you're supposed to wash your peaches before you eat them, all your things. And a lot of people peel them, right? But I read a little something about the nutritional value in the skin itself.
Oh, yeah.
So I've just developed a taste for it, just like this.
Fuzz and all.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wash it now, right? Unless I'm desperate and just happen to be in the orchard. If I see the bees buzzing around it and they're there because it's sweet, right? There'd be no other reason for them to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if it's good enough for one of them, and you just kind of wipe it off, Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people don't like the fuzz.
Right.
They can't stand the fuzz.
Right.
But then a lot of people just eat the fuzz and all, don't bother.
Well, if that's where more nutritional value is, then,
And that's true with apples, too. I mean,
right.
The peeling, you need to eat it all. That's where your good stuff is.
All right. Well, I'm in, and I really appreciate you bringing these to the studio. And fortunately, by the time people see this, which they'll see it, within 24 hours, part of these will be gone. Sorry, folks. But Armit Tevepaugh, just follow the winding road, and you'll get up there. I never will forget the first time that I came up to your orchard. And it was a long time ago, but I remember that winding road and how pretty it is. I mean, you want to be clear your thoughts when you're driving it, but there's nothing that replaces the serenity that you get when you go up to your orchard, is there?
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of customers that'll say, how can you stand to drive this crooked road? And then you'll have someone like you that says, I love that drive.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's that whole thing about, just getting in the moment. So if you're not accustomed to that type of an experience, or if you got a balance issue, well, you should not drive. Let someone else drive you up the mountain. But I think seeing the trees, I like to roll my window down and just, smell the air and just. It's almost like the trees, they just envelop you. I mean, you've lived there. Your people have lived there for 100 years. So do you have that as someone who lives there, and it's not a new thing for you? You do it every day. Does it do that for you?
It does, yeah. And a lot of times, even in the fall, when the leaves are falling.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's a pretty drive.
Yeah, there's I think on your website there's a picture of your orchard in the fall time. I think it's on your website. I saw it somewhere a few days ago. We'll make sure we find it because it was absolutely beautiful. It had your orchard sitting right in the middle of all those colored leaves. Now, I know that's fall, so really the peaches and apples are gone by then, right?
Yeah, most of all your peaches are gone, and we still have late apples, in the fall, but...
Well, let's talk about the things that are going on, and then we'll wrap up with a little bit more about the peach industry and apple industry in general. But there are things that are coming up in Wilkes County, not far off, right? We've got a peach festival coming up, and then the apple festival. And we've seen each other, and you've been on camera with us at both of those places for Life in the Carolinas. So let's talk about what's coming up and what does it look like this year. We'll start with the Peach Festival.
Well, the Peach Festival this year, they're going to do 2 days. And it's going to start Friday, which is the July 27th, at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And go to 9.
Right.
And that's called the Peach Party.
Oh, Peach Party.
Yeah. And then... the next Saturday or the next day next morning, they'll open at 8 and then go to 2.
Okay.
So,
all right. So is the idea to escape some of the heat. of the? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And some people likes coming out late at night. Some
Right.
likes coming out, early in the morning.
Right.
But of the evening, it does get pretty hot down there.
So are all the farmers and vendors excited about that idea
Oh,
of
yeah.
having it split up like that?
Yeah, it's going to be a little different this year, but I think it'll be good.
You think you'll have those 2 days? I know how it is at the Peach Festival. The last couple that I went to, you had to get there if you wanted your specialties, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys didn't last long,
No,
right?
no.
So you've got a
Yeah.
truckload of them there, or a pickup load of them, and anybody that's had them knows what it's like to love them. So they want them, and you can only get them at a certain time of the year. So here's my question: will you have that big delivery on Friday and Saturday?
This year we should have plenty both days.
Okay.
Because in years past we've had light crops, and that's
Right.
one reason we would sell out. We'd take a certain amount, and then a lot of times we'd sell out by lunchtime.
Right.
And you would have to get early. So this year, with a bumper crop and doing the 2 days, I think we'll have time to restock.
Right.
During
Over the
next
night.
day, overnight. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Folks, we're here at the Peach Festival in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Here's our good friend Armit from Tevepaugh Orchards and his wife and whole family. Everybody's here today, aren't
the
they?
whole family takes all of it.
Oh, it takes all of
Get
you.
it done.
Well, we have a history around apples, so this is our first time with the show on this great Peach Festival.
So you're going to have your whole family there working.
It usually takes all of us,
Yeah.
and then we can't have our retail open at the same time, so we have to have somebody up there too.
So you're in downtown Wilkesboro at the big plaza there, and then you're on the mountains too. So that's what you're doing. But all the orchards are probably doing that,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Because people know that peach season's in.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people like the Brush Mountain peaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not mad about that, are you?
No. A lot of them says they're the best. But
So when your dad comes up and says, son, peaches and apples, that's part of your future, what do you think about that?
I tell them I can't wait.
You can't wait?
wait.
So you're ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You're ready for all those peach and apple festivals of the future?
Well, with the help of the other family members, we can take care of it. We can take care of it.
Of course. Okay. All right. I love that.
So you were involved with the Peach Festival from the very beginning,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been a good asset for us. I mean, it's helped get the word out about peaches. A lot of people don't realize, Brush Mountains grows peaches too.
Right.
You know, but
let's talk about that for a minute, Armit, because you have, you're a mild-mannered gentleman, but you also kept yourself involved with things within the community, right? I remember you and I talked about the public stay. There's a lot of things that we've talked about over the years. Well, not a huge amount of things. We keep it generally around food and a few things, but you stayed involved. I mean, you've always been at the Apple Festival. I think that's where we first met. We met with an apple, not a peach.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? Maybe that's because there wasn't a peach festival back then.
No,
right?
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Peach Festival has, what is this, the fourth year? Or
I think it is.
Okay.
Fourth or fifth, but it's growing. I mean, they've really expanded.
Right. So that's going to be a great thing. Okay. So we got the Peach Festival coming up real soon. I mean, that's not long off at all. We may have to add a little dynamic to that Friday because that's the 27th of July. This may solve some of my concerns because that's my birthday.
Really?
So maybe we can do something special, maybe a peach ice cream or something.
Oh yeah.
With some sort of a I don't know. Wonderful. Well, it's going to be great. I know.
There'll be some peach ice cream down there, I'm sure.
Is that right? All right. Well, that's going to. I'm going to make that my celebration. People say, "Where's your birthday party?" It's going to be right there at the Peach Festival, right?
It's a peach party.
That's right. The peach party. I love that. That's great. All right. So we got peaches coming up soon. A bumper crop. So let's talk for a moment about what that means to you and other farmers, other people who are growing peaches. What does it mean when you've had some off years and now you've got an incredible? Why is that important to you?
Well, it's the way farming is. First of all, you're depending on the weather, so you're going to have years. Seems like here lately we've had more bad years than we have good years.
Right.
But when we get a good year, it's very encouraging.
Right.
You hope maybe you're going to have several good years, but. And it helps to get the word out. The Peach Festival is real good about getting the word out to
Sure.
to the people that they're ready and.
Now the weather right now, the forecast for the next month or so, it's going to be hot and dry.
Mm-hmm.
How does that take care of the peaches? Do they like it or don't like it?
That's perfect for peaches.
So peaches like hot, dry
They
weather.
like it hot and dry. Yeah.
Okay.
Now the growing season up until ripening, you like to have rain.
Right.
Not a overabundance, but plenty of rain. And then once they start ripening, hot and dry because they're sweeter.
So that's going to give you more concentration.
Yep.
So if what I'm hearing you say that you just described that the peach is like, then this has been a perfect year.
Oh, yeah, it has. Yeah. Yeah, because it's turned dry now just in time,
Right.
Because the peach will take a lot of moisture in through the skin, and it weakens it down if you have a lot of rain.
So it's like a grape.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the heat helps concentrate the flavors.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Cantaloupes, anything.
Cantaloupe.
Like that. Yeah.
You don't raise cantaloupes, do you?
No, we don't grow them.
Yeah.
But they're the same way. I mean, they'll be weaker.
Let's talk about the apples and the Apple Festival, because, of course, that's how we first met. And the Apple Festival in Wilkes County is huge.
It is.
People come from all over to have that experience.
You're going to do them when you get home? 4 apple pies, ma'am. That's $300.
Oh my God. I don't have
Did I quote it wrong?
So talk about apples this year, and where do you see the apple crop going this year?
Well, first of all, it is big. I mean, it's probably one of the largest one-day events, in this area. But the apple crop's good this year. I mean, they're looking good. We've got a good crop, got them thin, good, and so we're set for a good year. We actually have some early apple that gets ripe here in about a week. That'll be our first variety.
So going into July, you'll have an apple?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a cooking apple.
Okay.
It's called the Lodi.
Lodi.
Yeah, it's a green apple, and it'll turn white when it gets real ripe. It's sort of like the early harvest that a lot of people used to have years ago.
Okay.
But it's our first apple of the season, and it gets ripe first of July. So,
and people use that to make pies.
Pies, yeah, it's real tart.
Tart, so it's
don't
like
keep real good. It's not like your fall apples, But a lot of people used to have them in their yards years ago, and they referred to them as the yellow transparent. Or
is it a heritage?
Yeah, it's one that's been around a long time. It's probably got several different names, but when they get ripe, they turn white and they fall off, and then people would pick them up, then make pies and stuff out of them.
Wait a minute. So the outside turns white?
Yeah, it gets real white.
The apple does.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So it's not green.
It's green now,
right?
But when it gets dead ripe, it gets soft, and then it'll turn white.
Oh, I see.
But when it turns white, you better put it in a pie
because it'll turn brown.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So we've got that coming up real soon. Then, around the first week or two in July, right? You've got that apple coming, and then throughout the next month or two, that's when you'll really begin to see all your apples coming in.
Yeah, and usually the end of August is when the first fall variety, which is your Gala, that's the best.
Is that the one that the most people?
Oh yeah, it's the most
like
popular.
to talk about.
Yeah, it's
Gala
probably
apple?
the most popular apple now. Years ago, it used to be Red Delicious, but Gala is the most popular apple worldwide, I think.
Why do you think that is?
It's just a good eating apple.
Okay.
And I think got a lot better taste than some of the older ones.
Yeah. I like those Johnny Golds.
Johnny Golds is a good apple.
Because it's a little sweet, a little tart. It's got both of them
Yeah.
going on there.
And cooks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cooks good and eats good.
Yeah. Yeah. Johnny Golds is a good all-around apple.
All right. So that's good news. So are we looking at the same thing? You may have told me already, but are we looking at the same thing as far as the harvest for apples this year? Do you suppose that harvest will be as plentiful as the peach harvest?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's pretty much statewide.
Talk about the impact that has on the industry, because you're a piece of the industry, right? So you've got your mountaintop, and then there are other orchards in the area and region that I'm sure you deal with. There's not a war going on between the apple people.
No, we get along fine.
Y'all are peaceful, so that's good. So talk about that impact on your industry by having that good of a season.
Yeah. Well, it is there's a lot of apple growers in this area. Not as many as they used to be, but it's a big impact on the economy.
Right, which that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, some people will say, "Well, wait a minute. So, since you've got a big harvest, does that affect the pricing at all? Are the prices like?" Well, if it's a big harvest, they're likely not to go up, but they may not come down a whole lot either.
No, they'll probably be about the same. They probably a little like the peaches were very scarce last year, so they're going to be a little cheaper than it was last year. Apples probably be about the same, but see, our material, our spray material, our cost to grow them goes up every year, so it's hard to cut the price, whenever you have a bumper crop.
Well, especially because that's what you invest all those years of where it's not good. Right? Because your cost of operation, if I understand correctly, the cost of operation for an apple orchard is not really any different in good harvest or bad harvest. You still have to do all the treatment.
Yeah.
You still have to take care, and you pray more maybe in the off season. I don't know how that works, but I've heard farmers tell me that.
Oh.
Is that pretty accurate?
That's true. Yeah, the cost of growing an apple is going to be the same, because you still have to do the same amount of spraying.
Work.
Yeah,
right.
And even if you have a scatter on the tree, you still have to spray that tree the same.
Right.
Yeah, and so your cost basically is going to stay the same.
Right.
Whether you got a good crop or a bad crop.
Because you really don't know. You've done all the work leading up to when that frost happens, right? So it's not like, we do everything after frost season. It's pretty much year round, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're pruning, you're going to start pruning before if you're going to have a crop. So you're going to do that.
So when do you start pruning? What time of the year?
We start usually around the first of the year.
Okay.
I mean, you can start sooner than that. But
so either December, January?
Yeah, December, January, and then we prune all the way up to spring. We usually wait till the latter part of the winter to prune the peaches, because it tends to make them put out sooner. So we like to wait and prune them last. We prune our apples first and then do the peaches last.
I guess that's an idea for people at home listening. And when we have 2 or 3 trees in our yard, and we try to take care of them. And even sometimes that can be frustrating, because at home we're not equipped with the same equipment that you have, right?
No, that's true.
So we don't want to fall off the ladder. Wait a minute, am I supposed to cut it below this thing or not? So it's a hit or miss, but that scale might be something that we don't always think about. Say, well, I don't know why there's so much, because we've got a couple in the backyard. And, every 4 years we get a nice 10 apples off of it, whatever it might be. But it's different when you're a farmer, right? And that's what you are.
A lot of people don't realize when they set a tree out in their yard, they think, they're going to go out there and pick a fruit like that. But it takes a lot of work.
Sure, to make this, it's a lot more activity than, right. Okay, well, let's talk about what life would be like without farmers like yourself.
Well, it would be it would be very different because, and it's good to have local, where people can buy local. A lot of your big farms and corporations, supplies a lot of your grocery stores, but it's good to have places like farmers markets where you can buy local stuff that's grown local.
Isn't there? And some people hear that and say, "Oh well, I can get it at another another place, and maybe a little cheaper." But there's more to it than just supporting the local farmer. There's actually nutritional value that you get from something that's sourced close to home because it's fresher.
That's true.
So
that's true.
We're not losing as much of the nutritional value.
Yeah.
There was something about, I don't know if you have, I know you've got honeybees up there, but I don't know if you make honey, but there's something about honey that if it's grown or made, the bees are doing the making, right? So if it's made within so many miles of your home, 50 miles, whatever that area might be, that the medicinal benefit of that honey is far greater than a commercial thing you buy that's from, thousands of miles away, because the honey that's produced by the bees locally, it's going to build your natural immunity against certain types of pollens and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So can we translate any of that idea into growing fruit that we like? The apples, the peaches, the pears, the lemons, other types of things that we can grow here. We can translate that, right?
Yeah. And I've heard that also about the pollen. The honey, because if you have allergies and stuff like that, you're better off use the honey that's harvested locally. And you was talking about the fruit being fresher and local. I think one reason that the peaches here, a lot of people say is they're better. They got a better flavor versus maybe South Carolina or some other locations. Some of it may be the soil, but I think it's more the small orchards being able to pick it closer to tree ripen. Okay. Most peach orchards around here has 10, 20 acres. Okay. You go down in other places and there's peach orchards, hundreds of acres, thousands of acres. And they have to pick them pretty hard because they're going to go to the grading house and they're going to grade them, send them to a grocery store. So they got to be able to last several weeks. Right. And we can pick them closer to ripening, closer to tree ripening, and that's when you get your best flavor. You want to leave a peach on the tree till it gets as tree ripe as you can, still handle it. Right before it starts getting soft, and then you've got a tree ripened peach, and that's what we try to do.
How long will it last once you pick it at that time?
If you pick one tree ripened, and in other words, these are not real soft, but they will. When they set a day, they'll start softening. Right. And then from there on, if you leave them out, you're going to have to use them pretty quick. But now you can put them back in the refrigerator and they'll keep.
And that'll extend the life.
Yeah. Right. But it stands to reason that you've got, if you're going to sell them in a packing house, you got to pick them pretty hard.
Okay, sure.
And you got to get them long before they're tree ripen.
Right.
Yeah. And
so they're not going to. They'll never be as sweet. Then,
no.
will they?
No. A peach don't increase its sugar once you pick it.
All right. Yeah. So we've got obviously the taste benefit is there.
Yeah.
So that's what we're celebrating, the taste.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what makes us talk about these great peaches, great apples, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they just have come off the tree within a couple of days.
Oh yeah.
And you're eating them.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's the difference in a tree ripened and one that's picked, for commercial harvest.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, this is exciting news. I know it always, when we sit and talk, it always goes so fast. We've got more to talk about, though, but we don't have to do that today because today we're celebrating the mighty peach, right?
Yep.
We've got a peach festival coming up real soon. It's just a few weeks, and there the peach festival is.
Yep.
All right. So, are you going to do those? Peach slushies this year?
We're debating whether to do that this year or not. In times past, we just have one machine.
Right.
and
It's not enough, is it?
it would sail faster than it would freeze. So, it got down to where we was just selling cold peach juice.
Right. Well,
So, and that's because it's so hot.
Right,
You
right.
put one of them machines outside, and
well, you should have it at least on Friday night.
oh yeah,
So I can have a slushy for my celebration.
Yeah, we hope to get it going. We'll try to have at least some peach juice or something of some kind there.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. Well, that's the beautiful thing about talking to a farmer who's making the decision on what they're doing, because they've got all the ingredients, and it's just, how many of those peaches do we have? Let's make some juice out of those, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. Armit, thank you so much for coming in and spending time with us. Now, we spent most of this time talking about peaches, so in about a month and a half, let's come back and talk about the apples, okay?
Okay. Be
Maybe
glad
we can take a look at some of the varieties that we have in this region, and how the apple crop is actually looking, and maybe some of the things that'll be coming up. What is that? The first Saturday in October? Yeah, that'll be the Apple Festival.
That's the Apple Festival.
That's a huge gathering, right?
Yep.
Gee whiz. All right, Armit. Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Always good seeing you.
Always
Carl.
great seeing you, Armit. I can always trust your opinions about what's a good peach and a good apple. Well, that's a peach too, but yeah. Thanks, Armit. We're gonna share peach. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to tempt you now there.
Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
So you can just break them open.
Wow.
Look at that little seed there. Yeah.
It's already sweet. It's already sweet. Oh my goodness. Oh, that'll drive people out of their minds. Oh my goodness. Okay, folks, no speeding on the Brushy Mountain Road to get up to Tevepaugh's or any of the other fine peach growers up there. You love them all, don't you, Armit?
Oh, yeah. Like them all. Love them all.
It's all family. Get yourself a peach and let's have a fantastic July.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share this show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.